Hello, and thank you for stopping by a special edition of the Masters Beer Reviews and Company show here on Thomas Metal 75 channel of YouTube. Again, I am Thomas Metal 75, and this is your Massachusetts Beer Reviews. Why not a Wednesday? Well, things came up, and the band that I practice with needed to switch from today to tomorrow, but I figure this would be a great day to do an examination anyways, as in the United States of America, well, around the world, it is September 11th, 2018, but in the United States, as most of you would know, this is 9/11 day. This is the day that, one of the days that will forever live in infamy. I know that that was Pearl Harbor, but you can use that for September 11th, if you will. We're going to drink some American beers, meaning anything brewed in America. It doesn't have to be your standard old classics, but those would be perfect for today. So we do have John H. Pierre from Mobile, Alabama. We do have John Anilli from Newman, Georgia. Check them both out, John H. Pierre and John Anilli on YouTube. And we do have Jay Terrio from Louisiana Beer Reviews. Louisiana Beer Reviews, type in that into the YouTube search engine or a Google search engine. You'll find him and watch him. He's a great reviewer. And again, Thomas Metal 75, that's where you'll find me here on this channel. Again, today we are going to remember and honor 9/11 in America by drinking some American beers. So let's get to the panel of folks and see what beers that they brought today for an examination. What do you have with us for beer, John H. Pierre?
This evening, I am drinking Genesee Light. It's not one of the, it's 3.6 ABV. Hold on, I'm hearing some echo. Okay, I have to lower the volume. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on, guys. Okay, is that better?
Yes.
Okay. Hello again. Am I still loud?
You're good.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, 3.6 ABV, a light beer, of course, Genesee, brewed in Rochester, New York, even though it's not in New York City, but of course, New York is where it kind of all began on that terrible day when our nation was attacked. So I figured let me have a beer representing the state of New York, and this beer does not get much love in the light beer community because it's not, even though it's a budget beer, but not well received with like the premium or the budget brand beers. But anyway, I think it's decent. And again, being brewed in the state of New York, I figured I'll bring it tonight for this tribute.
Yes, yes, yes. All good stuff. John Anilli, Newman, Georgia, beer reviewer from the state of Georgia. What beer do you have this evening with us?
All right. Well, I have a Sierra Nevada beer, which Sierra Nevada, a lot of people would say that they were some of the pioneers of the craft beer movement here in the United States. So anyway, they make good products. And everybody out there who was affected directly and indirectly, which I guess the entire nation was by September 11th, my deepest sympathies. And we will never forget what happened on this day. 17 years ago now. So anyway, so I've got the Otra Vase. I have never had it before today. I wanted to try it. I've had many of the Sierra Nevada beers, but as the panel knows, you guys know I love some gozas and sours, so I wanted to give the Sierra Nevada Otra Vase a try.
Excellent. Excellent. And Jay Terrio, Louisiana Beer Reviews, as a special beer. Which beer are you bringing today?
Okay. Before I go into that, John,
Yes.
I think that beer is 3.6 by weight, but I think it's higher by volume. You check their website.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, actually, the Genesee website, Jay, doesn't really list all their ABVs on their beers.
It does, but you got to look for it. It's on a PDF file.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Uncle Ronald will look that up for you. Now, in a little bit, that's what they call me. I call myself that, Uncle Ronald or Uncle Jay.
Secondly, it's Noonan, Georgia, not Newman. There you go. And you learn
No,
something new every day, dude.
No him. It's not like Seinfeld. Hello, Newman. Hello, Jerry. No,
By
it's-
the way, if John takes and Eric, if you're ever down there, make sure John takes you to that pizzeria. It was bloody awesome.
oh yeah, no joke, no joke.
By the way, I just got the info. We got 100 calories, 4.0 grams of carbs, less than 1 gram of protein, and 4.0 ABV for Genesee Light.
You're looking on their website?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, on that file, huh?
All right, what was the ABV again? Say that again.
April 2017.
What's the ABV again?
4.0.
Okay, which is
Hey,
about
wow.
tolerable. I can live with that.
Tolerable, yes.
The answer. Man. All right. So hello.
Hey, which one is that?
I am. Hello, Noonan. All right. So I have this beer. Can you see it?
Got the Yingling
No. There's too much
Pilsner,
glare.
Golden Pilsner, maybe.
Oh,
Yeah.
you finally got your hands on the Golden Pilsner, huh?
I could have gotten it a few weeks ago. I was trying to find a single, but I just bought a 12-pack for $11.69. So this is the Yingling Golden Pilsner. It's 5. Oh, never mind. It's 4.7% alcohol. I don't know the IBUs because they're not listed. It's golden, as you can see, and it was introduced way back in 2018.
Cool. All right. I haven't cracked open my beer yet, but this is from Massachusetts. I believe that these guys are from Woburn, Massachusetts, which is north of Boston. This is the Glorious IPA or Glorious Pale Ale. It's a Galaxy hopped. They just say Galaxy Pale Ale, and it's from the Lord. If you can even read that, probably not. From the Lord Hobo Brewing Company. It was done. It was canned all the way back on May 16, 2018. But this is the last of the singles I did acquire from Trader Joe's, by the way. So pretty good beer there. Lord Hobo, again, the company LLC is in Woburn, Mass. is north of Boston, and they say it's 6.5% on the LordHoboBrewing.com website. 6.5%, 72 IBUs. It's featuring the Galaxy hop, and it is got Pilsner malts, so that should be pretty good. I'll describe the beer instead of reading their description. That's basically the description of the beer is basically tasting notes. So I'll leave that for the viewers to see. But I'm curious, as we're going through everybody's different beers, if we want to start with Jean H. Pierre before we get into your beer review. Jean H. Pierre, take us back to that crazy day back in 2001 on this day, September 11th. If you remember where you were and what happened, where it was in your lifetime.
Yes, I had just recently moved to Norfolk, Virginia, and I was down there. I was, I'm just living down there. It was an off day, and I had just came back from the store, and I just went inside and just turn on the TV, watching Good Morning America, just dilly-dallying, just looking at what was going on. I didn't have cable at the time, and all of a sudden saw Charlie Gibson and Diane Sawyer interrupt, saying, "Hey, there's a situation going on at the towers." And I looked and I thought, "Wow, looks like there's an explosion of fire." I said, "What's going on?" Stayed there the entire time, looked at it, and then a few minutes later, I saw the second plane run into the second tower, and I said, "Okay, something is about to happen here." And stayed with that the entire day, watched the whole coverage, everything, and just also, more importantly, I was trying to get in contact with my dad and my brother. My brother worked at Goldman Sachs, used to. He was doing IT, and Goldman Sachs, their office was 3 blocks away from the towers. And I was trying to get in contact with him to see if everything was okay. And of course, my dad, he was a driver in the city. And so I was, trying to contact both of them to see if they're okay, if they're were they in the area, anything. And thankfully, my dad did not go in that day. He was at my brother's shop, his auto body shop, auto repair shop. And my older brother, Patrick, of course, where he works, he got out of there. He got on the ferry and headed back to Sandy Hook. He lived down in Matawan, New Jersey. So he made it back there in one piece, but it was just, in cell phone usage, you couldn't really call anybody because all the towers were down. I guess the World Trade Center was sort of like the main tower for all the phone companies, I guess. I'm not sure. But couldn't get in contact with him, with anybody. And then then I got a message from my sister-in-law, who she was married to, say, hey, Patrick made it back in one piece. He was safe and everything's okay. So, yeah, I just sat there all night, watched the whole coverage, and then went outside and noticed how quiet it was, and no planes in the sky, nothing. The only thing I saw was just mostly military planes. Of course, Norfolk, that whole area, Tidewater area, very, very military, a lot of military bases, and there were some military planes flying over, but outside of that, I mean, it was quiet. And a day that I just will, never forget, and
Absolutely.
one of those crazy days,
Jean, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Real quick. When I went to New York City a few times, I noticed they had these cars. They're not taxis, but they're like Lincoln,
Uber.
Black Link. No.
Yeah, like I think I know what you're talking about. Livery. I think they call them livery cars. Livre.
Yeah, this is before Uber ever came around.
Right.
I would be walking around in Queens, New York.
Right.
It would just come by and honk, like at the stop sign, honk, honk, and it was like a black Lincoln
or some other black, sort of nice sedan type vehicle,
And if I didn't respond, they would take off and go somewhere else. But I thought that must be some kind of other taxi service. But you said it's livery drivers?
Right, livery drivers, that's what they call them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad, he was not doing that. Actually, he was, a limo driver, and, he was, picking up some people. He did it pretty well. And then recently he just kind of semi-retired now. And now he just does it on the weekends. And he has a colleague of his that does it during the middle of the week. And so he has a medallion on it as well. So yeah, he's kind of 70. He's kind of taking it easy right now, and which is, I'm glad he's doing so. But I
was just curious because I had seen those, and I figured you were talking about, when you said driver, it made me think of that, and I'd always wondered what those were.
Yeah. So he was he's a jack of all trades. He does mechanic work, he does this, he does steel work, and like I said, right now he's 70 retired, and he's but he doesn't want to sit down. He wants to get up and move around here and there. So
How is the Genesee light beer treat?
It's not bad. Again, it's refreshing, and again, I know, as I mentioned earlier, it doesn't get much love like the premium brand or the Euro brand beers like Bud Light, or Heineken Light or Beck's Light, or even the budget brands like Busch Light or Milwaukee's Best Light. But for the price, I paid $1.29 for this 25-ounce can plus tax, so it's enjoyable, it's reasonable. Again, 4% now, since I know 4% ABV, and it goes with everything. I just had what I had now. Just had some Hot Pockets just now. I just had to do something. Yeah, I just had to threw something in there. Yeah, the pepperoni kind, pepperoni pizza flavored, and
That's amazing.
yep, and they throw it in the toaster oven, and just had that with that, and it's went well with it. So like I said, the state of New York, resiliency, they survived, they went through it. And I was just like with Boston, with what they went through, and even though it's a totally different situation, with those two
Events.
knuckleheads,
Knuckleheads, correct, yes.
Yeah, the Zarnaya brothers, and Patriots Day, by the way, I saw it the other night, man. Again, damn good movie.
Hate to say it, so I haven't seen it yet. No,
Yeah.
I live out here.
So but yeah,
I
so
lived it. I don't need a damn movie. No.
yeah, but you know, but it kind of, like I said, how the city comes together through tragedy and shows their resiliency, and you know that's what you love about it, and that's what I love. You know why, you know, New Jersey, the whole New York area will always, you know, will have a special place in my heart. And even though it's gotten very costly to live up there right now, but still, you know, it is, as they say, the greatest city on earth, and you know, you just there's no place like it. So outside of New Orleans, of course.
No, I think New York's is better than New Orleans.
Yeah. Well, I like the reason why is because it's okay. It's a sort of a mini New York City. I know that I can get a pizza at 3 in the morning in New Orleans, so you know that's kind of cool.
There you go.
New Orleans is fine, but it's no New York. I mean, listen.
No, you're absolutely right. It's not. It's not.
But it's not as cold either. All right.
That's right. And same with Atlanta. I love going down to Atlanta too. It's a nice, you know, downtown Atlanta at 2 in the morning. I can, you know, just have a good time, you know.
2 in the morning downtown. Oh, all right. So all good stuff from Jean H. Pierre. We will definitely come back to John H. Pierre. Jean, not John H. Pierre, for a what do you call those things that we do? Oh yeah, ratings of Genesee Light. I want to go to John and Ellie in the state of Georgia and hear his what he remembered from September 11, 2001, and then get a little rundown of Sierra Nevada or Tevez.
All right. Well, September 11, 2001, I was in 7th grade, and I was in school. And, you know, I was young and stupid. And honestly, I remember they took the entire school and put us in a room, and they put the news on the TV and we sat there for the whole day watching everything unfold. And at the time, I mean, it was so surreal. Like, honestly, I thought it was a joke at first, because I was like, would never really happen, especially the World Trade Center, New York City. So anyway, it was just kind of it was a shock. Later when I got home and I was talking to my parents and my family about it, it kind of hit home a little bit more. But like I said, when it first went down, I was at school. I was in 7th grade. They kind of brought everybody together, and I couldn't really believe that it was happening. It was just so surreal. But anyway, as far as the beer is concerned,
oh, he dropped the beer. Oh no. Oh.
That's all right. I was trying to just grab the can and show the label again.
Oh,
but as far as
beer,
gotta go clean it up.
Yes, I will do that in just a second. But really quickly, it's 4.9% alcohol, which I don't think I mentioned before. It's very limey on the aroma. I was talking to Eric off air. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the aroma that I remember from the Occulto, which was this Anheuser-Busch beer that was aged on tequila staves. Has that aroma going on.
Interesting beer, right, Jay? Makes you yawn. Occulto.
No, that wasn't it. I'm getting sleepy.
Anyway, I remember Occulto.
So the flavor, you're definitely picking up on lime. I guess you're picking up on that agave. And the Occulto also had agave flavor in it. That could be what I'm associating to the Occulto flavor profile and the aroma.
They use some kind of a, not to cut you off there, John, but I recall, maybe Jay could remember that. I think they use some kind of an actual prickly cactus or some kind of juice in
what they use. It's actually, it says ale brewed with lime and agave. So it's actually got lime and agave in the beer.
Okay.
Yeah, agave is tubular desert plant.
Right. So I get the wheat. You know, it's very weedy and bready in the middle of the sip. It drops off nicely on the back end, but it's got that flavor profile that, and I hate to use artificial because it's not made with artificial ingredients, but to me it has like an artificial taste going on, strong in the lime agave department. It kind of overtakes the other qualities of the beer. It is tart. It is refreshing, but I've had so many gozas, so many sour beers. This one just falls a little bit short for me, but it is super light and refreshing. And it was actually reasonably priced here. I got a 6-pack for, I think it was $8.99, which for a craft beer is not too bad. But yeah, it's not my favorite goza. And I'm going to go ahead and end it there. I'm going to put myself on mute and go clean up this little mess that I just made. So
okay. We can go to our good buddy and correspondent there in the greater New Orleans area, Jay Terry at Louisiana Beer Reviews. So what are your remembrances of the day of September 11th, 2001, and a little review on some Golden Pilsner?
Okay, I'm going to work in reverse. I'll do the Pilsner first because I'm almost done with it.
Okay. That good, yes.
Well, when we did a duo review, we gave it, and I see that they've updated the label for the Eau Traverse, and I've never seen it in cans before either, but that's a new label. I wasn't too thrilled with that beer, though. I had it twice. All right. This one, we did a duo review, and we gave it a B+, and then I did a solo review. I gave it a B+. But now, I don't know. It just, smells kind of pungent. It's not a real Pilsner. I don't know what they mean it's a Pilsner, because if you want a real Pilsner, get Pilsner Urquell, which destroys this beer. This beer is an embarrassment compared to that. Now,
yeah, it's probably true.
But then, of course, the Pilsner Urquell is $8.99 a 6-pack, and this is $6.99. But still, $2. It's probably worth paying it, even though you get less beer. This one is just kind of bland.
Gotta try it at least once, I suppose.
I get to try it 12 times. It has a little bit of spicy hops in the background. The body's medium and the finish is dry and crisp. But they're saying it's all malt. I heard people saying it. I haven't seen anything from the company saying that. But if this is all malt, get real, because it tastes like it has corn in it. More than anything, it tastes like, I hear an echo, don't you?
Yes.
You know what? Let me move my volume down. Is that all right?
We'll see. It probably is. It tastes corny, like cornflakes. So I have a hard time believing that this thing is all malt. But let me give one more sip.
Probably not a whole bunch of malt, if any, in that brew.
No, that's what the people are saying. All malt, no corn or rice. But it just, I don't know. I might have to drop it from my B+ down to just a B.
Uh-oh.
Okay. It's okay, but it's not too exciting. Now, 9/11 was exciting, but in the wrong way.
Yes.
In a bad way. Well, I was at work, and I had just finished teaching first hour, but I was on my planning period because second hour I was off at that time. And I said, I got all these papers to grade. I'm getting them done, So then the principal says, she came in when the classes were changing. I was standing by the door, and she said, a plane hit the World Trade Center. So I said, well, at first I didn't take it too serious. I took it seriously, but I didn't get too excited because I said, well, back in 1944, I think it was a bomber, a big airplane, I think it was a B-17, crashed into the Empire State Building. It was real foggy, and it got lost or disoriented, and it hit and crashed. I said, so it could have been something like that, So I just said, I'll check on that later because I want to get these papers done. So I just said, I hope everybody's okay, and I figured it was something like that. So I started doing the papers. And then she came back later and she said, and a plane crashed. No, she said they bombed. I didn't know what she meant. They bombed the Pentagon.
Wow.
But I said, let me get on the internet. So I got on there and it said, planes hit World Trade Center and something. But then it wouldn't work. Like the internet wouldn't work because everybody was on it at once and then it got froze up for the whole morning. I said, well, forget the papers. I can't get the internet to work. I'm just going to go home. It's during planning period. No one's going to care anyway, or even notice that I left. I had an hour and a half. So I didn't live too far from the school. So I came home and I turned the TV on and I'm watching it. I'm saying, oh man, I'm listening to it on the radio. I'm listening to this guy talking on the radio, this commentator in New Orleans. Yeah, I see all that yeast sediment. That looks like an interesting beer, that pale ale, that hazy pale ale. So I'm listening to Ed Butler, and he's talking about the attacks, and he's saying, we're lucky they even have a New York, because he was always talking about how the government was very lax with security and all of that. And so he was saying that they're so lax and garbage with their security, they're lucky they didn't set off an atom bomb and blow up the whole city. And I was thinking, yeah, he's got a point, because he was always harping on about that way before this attack happened. So then I got home, and then I saw that the towers started to fall. They were saying the towers collapsed, and then I got home and I saw it, and then I turned the TV on. Of course, they kept showing it again and again. So I went back to school, and I told our teacher, Tim Daly, I said, you heard about the attacks, of course. Yeah. But he acted like, well, it's not so bad. I said, the World Trade Center just collapsed. He said, what do you mean? I said, it's collapsed. Like it fell down and there's no more World Trade Center. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? And then he looked shocked and he said, what? Then he took it serious, like, oh, this is a big deal. I'm like, yeah, ding dong. So then I went in the principal's conference room, and they were all watching it on TV, and they were all crying. And I was like, oh, well, this is going to be some kind of crazy day now. So I came home, and of course it was on TV all night, and I watched it till I got tired of watching it, really, and I went to sleep. I said, well, I know I'm going to hear about it forever. So that was it. I mean, it was just like a bad thing, obviously.
And the interesting thing, Jay and everyone, it was, all night, and then going through the middle, throughout, the morning, the early hours, 2 in the morning, I was sleeping and get up and turning on. There was more coverage of it. And I'm sure if y'all remember, with all the sports leagues, I think everyone decided they're going to cancel. I think the only one that was still left was the SEC. They hadn't really made a decision whether the SEC conference, whether they're going to make a decision whether they're going to hold off, maybe do some games or not. And so that was, it was a weekend, where, when we finally made a decision, was a weekend where, everybody be with your family, be with your friends, gather together, talk. And if you have liquor and whatever, drink some stuff and just kind of be together. It was kind of that weekend, so it was peace and, have fun. Not have fun, you know what I mean? But just join each other, be around each other, your friends. That was what it was. And it was the first weekend, nothing, no sports, no baseball, nothing.
Yep.
Right. Let me tell you 2 more things real fast. Sure. First thing, I was at an LSU football game against Tulane, by the way, on September 1st. So we were going into the stadium. It was so crowded. Me and my friend Paul were going into the stadium. We were having a hard time. I said, man, it's crowded. And I said to him, now this would be a perfect place for a Muslim terrorist to attack.
Oh, no. Whoops.
I said that on September 1st. See, so we were already thinking these things.
Wow.
A lot of people were predicting that. I have a magazine from 1998 that was talking about it. But
right.
Secondly, during the summer of 2001, around June or July, probably July, I guess, I had a dream. And when I have dreams in extreme detail. Like I could tell you exactly where I was at all points in the dream. So I had a dream. If I tell you this, you're going to never talk to me again because you're going to be terrified. All right. You want to hear this?
Go ahead. Let's hear it.
Well, you have to tell us now after that intro. I mean,
exactly. Go.
I'm not lying. It's the truth. So you can just
2 viewers who are going to hear this dream too.
So if I ever have a dream about you, be afraid, be very afraid. All right. So, okay. So in this dream, I was driving in Manhattan, for whatever reason, I was driving in my 1993 Mustang LX, royal blue metallic. I don't know why I was driving that car because I didn't even have it in 2001, but it was a very nice car. But anyway, so I'm driving and I was trying to park, and now like literally you're trying to park in Manhattan, right? but it was very sunny. I remember it was so sunny outside, and I said, "Oh, that's nice," you know. So I parked. I was able to. I couldn't believe it. I found a parking spot on the street, and I parked going east, I think, or something. I'm trying to remember. So I was going that way. So I was by this ivy, there was like an embankment by the sidewalk with all this dark green ivy. And I thought, oh, that looks really pretty. So then I said, let me go up in this huge tower. So I went up in this tall building. I don't know why I did. I just went up in the elevator. And I went to the very top floor. And I remember looking around and say, oh man, this is nice. And they had this really tight nap office carpet, gray. I said, well, that's some good carpet. And then I was looking around. I mean, I'm telling you what happened in the dream. So I'm looking around and you could see out all the windows. So you could see in all directions out of these huge windows, like the whole city. I said, oh, it's so bright on this day. And then while I'm doing that, you could feel something just shake the building, like this impact. Like you could feel it in the dream. And then everybody started running and screaming.
Whoa. And
I was thinking, damn, what was that? You could just feel it. You didn't really hear anything. You just feel it. And then, of course, there was smoke and paper flying everywhere. And everybody's running like a bunch of ants in an ant pile, running every direction. And I said, well, now what am I going to do? So I was like, everybody's running around like the crazy. So I looked, and it said stairs and a door. I said, let them run. I'll just go downstairs. So I went to open the door, and it was locked. And that's when I woke up.
Wow.
But I didn't think about that dream at all after. I just thought, well, that was a crazy dream. But after the 9/11 attack, about 5 days later, I was walking somewhere and I thought, oh, wait a minute. I dreamed about it. And I was in the building and I felt the impact. Well, that was really weird, you know.
That's what I would call irony. Wow. That's ironic that you had that dream. Holy moly. But
sometimes I have premonitions about things, you know.
That's crazy. All right. Well, I can't say anything like that, so I don't know if I apologize for that, but I cannot top Captain Tupper right there. No. But I can tell you that beer later. I can tell you that, or beer now, that my story for 9/11 starts off as John and Neil's story. I was in 7th grade, and this is no joke. I also was in 7th grade. I was in French class because in 7th grade here in Mansfield, Massachusetts, there's my town, that I live in 7th grade, which was 6th, 7th, 8th grade was middle school. And in 7th grade, you could choose, you did French and you did Spanish to decide what language you wanted to take in high school. You needed to take a language in high school. So I took French class, and I remember that we were in that classroom at about the time that this news and this incident broke out in New York there at the World Trade Center. And I just remember the principal coming on over the PA system and told all the teachers to go open their emails, to just stop what they're doing and just go open emails. So they went and did that. At least my teacher did. I guess this is just my experience. I don't remember walking around anywhere and hearing anything else about it. So it must have been a similar story. So she went to the back of the room where they had a personal computer, and she opened up her emails and read her email, and that was it. And we just went back on like nothing happened. And I had no knowledge that anything had happened until I got home, and I saw that my brother and mother were watching the news, and I guess what I saw was what must have been the first impact on the news of this thing just hitting and this explosion. And I don't know what Die Hard is in 7th grade, but that's kind of what it would remind me of in 30-year-old mind.
There was no news coverage of the first impact because they didn't know it was coming.
Oh, okay. So school was. You're probably right. Yeah, you're definitely right. So school was done in middle school there at 1:49. So I get home probably 2 o'clock to 10 maybe. So whatever I saw from that second attack, I guess is what it was. I mean, again, I've never seen Die Hard in 7th grade, but that's sort of now a good analogy because it was a big boom into a building and a big plume of fire and a big smoke cloud. I'm like, what? are you watching? This looks awesome. Let me, okay. A couple minutes later, 10, 20 minutes later, okay, you are not watching what I think you are watching. This is not the latest action movie from Arnold Schwarzenegger. No, this is real. All right, great. Okay. So then, same experience that pretty much everybody else has. You're pretty much fixated and glued on the TV. I remember the George W. Bush thing with the loudspeaker outside of the World Trade Center area, and then the image of almost like Iwo Jima with that flag, American flag with the firefighters. That was pretty crazy.
Oh yeah.
And then John was talking about all the sports stuff. My thought, even being a little tiny kid, just like John Anilli was, I was just thinking that's the last thing we should. I mean, even thinking this in 7th grade, like this is the last thing we should do is to cancel sporting events. Now I get the idea that it was to protect people protect large crowds from anything that could possibly be happening. I understand that, but the last thing that we need to do is to tell whoever did this, and we were still trying to figure out day 2, 3 later. I mean, we probably had a good idea within U.S. intelligence, but not the general public on what really went down.
Well, I think most people pretty much knew in about an hour, really.
Yeah. But just in general, if we didn't know exactly that the general United States population didn't know exactly what happened. But for me, that was like the last thing you wanted to do is just to say, oh, whoever did this, we're just going to let them win and not go about our business. And boy, America's pastime at baseball. You got to be out of your damn mind. So, yeah, when we went back into playing sports, that was really good. And I just remember 2 things that I took away from that back in 2001 when I was very young. One of which was everybody seemed like whatever problems that were going on at the time, everybody just stopped caring about everybody else's problems, and you saw American flags everywhere. You saw everybody coming together for the sake of just being good citizens and being, American citizens and having American pride. The whole thing about, we got to rename French toast and French fries to freedom fries and freedom toast is just dumb. There goes an orb. Hello. Anyway.
Well, that kind of started around 2003, though, when they attacked Iraq. That's when the freedom fries started in the Freedom Quarter. Instead of the French Quarter, they said, let's name it the Freedom Quarter.
Right.
But he was doing that to be sarcastic. So that came a little later, I think.
That's still a takeaway from the aftermath of all of this stuff. The other thing.
Yeah, but that was in 2013.
Yeah, the other thing again was that whole idea that everybody came together and they stopped bickering and everybody just had an American flag outside everybody's houses and everything was, America, USA.
That you thought were important were not important. You decided, hey, you cherish every day you have with your family members and your friends because you never know. That was kind of what that day was about,
We had the next day my home, the home room that I was in, our teacher was actually a history teacher. So the next day, I forget if it might have been the Boston Herald, had a photo, and what Jay says is probably what it has to have been what it was. There's no other explanation for it. It was the second building that got hit by that plane on it.
It was.
And I forget exactly what it said. I'm sure I could find the image of it if I looked hard, if I didn't look that hard on the internet. But it was something along the lines of World War III or get ready for war or now or this is war or the whole idea was is that newspaper headline basically said now we're going to war, and having that in homeroom and having that with a teacher that was a history teacher herself, having a really good dialogue about, I don't remember any of the dialogue specifically, but just having a good dialogue about that and what our thoughts and feelings were going in at the day after hearing George W. Bush basically saying, if George W. Bush were Donald Trump, he basically said, we're going to get those son of a bitches and do you-know-what to them. So that was kind of pretty cool to hear that stuff and to hear and have all that dialogue. Nobody ever wanted to talk about this crap until that time, which which is really good. And you
No, it's
mentioned
true.
earlier about 98 and 99, and they did that in some embassy over in Osama bin Laden bombed one of our U.S. embassies over.
And then, of course, the USS Cole, of course, let's not forget that. You know, that killed, I don't know how many soldiers they killed inside that ship, on that ship. I think 7 or 8, you know.
I've got the magazine in my house. I can show it to you. I kept that. I said I'm keeping this because this is proof to back up what I was saying. Anyway, we better not get too much into that because
so the headline of that, I found that newspaper article and it looks the headline, it looked exactly the same as I remember. It said in big letters with the picture of that second plane going into that building. It said war. U.S. vows punishment after terrorist attacks kill, injure thousands. So those are my takeaways from that crazy, epic in a sense, day. Definitely an epic day of epic proportions. So I'm drinking a beer because this is beer examination. A glorious IPL Pale Ale, glorious Galaxy Pale Ale from Lord Hobo. It is a little on the old side, but not too bad. Galaxy Pale Ale definitely has the hazy straw color they talk about on the Lord Hobo website. At this point, I got a lot of sediment from the bottom of the glass, which is contributing to some spicy, peppery notes. Bone white head. This definitely smells like that grapefruit piff, that pineapple-y note, and some lemony kind of notes to it, but definitely big tropical citrus notes. I'm getting some kind of a wheat malt in there, and if they're using flaked oats, or maybe I'm getting the white wheat malt to this, I think that's appropriate for the nose. Yeah, this might be the white wheat malt, maybe not the flaked oats. They use a lot of white wheat malts in these New England pale ales, IPAs, and double IPAs to smooth the beer's texture out and give it almost a silky feel.
You can see that.
They're using Pilsner malt. I'm getting crackery notes to that. Cheers.
Yeah.
And at this point, I am definitely getting a peppery peppercorn spicy note. Earlier, I was not getting so much when it wasn't this sediment rich. Look at that. But definitely am getting those silky smooth white wheat malts that I'm getting from it. The Pilsner malt is crackery and very refreshing. I'm getting that orange grapefruit piff with some pineapple, light notes of the lemon. Very Pilsner malty, as I say. Very dry. It's almost a little too on the dry side at this particular moment in time. I do think some of this hop character has died off. However, because of the low bitterness towards the finish, it's 72 IBUs, but not at this point. But I'm still getting the nice tropical juice qualities you get from these good IPAs and pale ales. So I think at a fresher date, this would be an amazing beer. And I still do think it's a better than a 90 beer, but it's just not fresh enough where I'm getting the vibrance of a green, earthy hop. There's no dank or resinous qualities at 6.5%. You could get some, but generally for lower IPAs and pale ales, I don't get that. Although I did review one the other day that was like 5.7 and had a lot of dank qualities to it. But I don't know. I'm very happy with this, and we get this in my area, being Massachusetts, so I should be able to get this wherever I go, and I will try to get this a little bit fresher. Those are my thoughts here. I want to hear from the man making the noise over there. I want to hear, what's your thoughts, John?
Wait. There's an earthquake. Oh, no, it's just Jean.
It's just John. John, you're drinking.
Yeah, I had to get my second beer, and this will probably be my last beer of the night of Genesee Cream. I'm Genesee Ale, Genesee Light. Excuse me.
I was going to ask you what your final thoughts and ratings are of Genesee Light here.
Nothing really. Like I said, it's an enjoyable light beer. Again, I can get this now since Genesee has been in our area since 2014, I believe. And now I can get it at a couple of service stations and other certain grocery stores, I can get, you know, the light and the lager and the cream ale. The cream ale in the 12 pack, but the light and the lager I can get in a 30 pack. So it's a reasonable price beer. Outside of that, like I said, there's nothing really ho-hum about it. Again, it's good with this, it's good with that. And you're looking for something that's not going to, you know, fill you up. You know, it's not going to get you all, you know, woozy. And yeah, if you're a college student in this area and looking to, you know, play beer pong, Genesee Light will probably be the beer for you. So maybe Milwaukee's Best Light, maybe. But yeah, but definitely it won't be Rockdale Light. Anyway, or Boxer. Anyway, in the words of Jay. Anyway, but like I said, it's for what it is. It is what it is. So
it's not even worthy of a rating of a number.
Exactly. I would say the rating on it maybe between 1 to 5. I would say a 3, and I think that's being kind, and I'll leave it right there. So.
All right. Well, damn.
You can drink it, but you don't have to pour it.
Crazy, yeah.
The board out.
Thank you for your thoughts on the day. That was very good.
Yes.
Especially being the New Jersey guy, and not even just New Jersey when you did live there, but you were down in Virginia where even, pardon my French, shit went down too.
Yeah, I'm at the Pentagon, which is right there, I guess, on the border of, you know, Virginia, right there, and they got hit. And so, and of course, like I said, further down Norfolk, Virginia, the Tidewater area, a lot of military bases, a lot of, you know, pro-military, and a lot of planes were immediately left through there and were flying throughout the sky, and of course heading further out to DC. And you know, it was like I said, it was a very interesting time. Scary time, but also a time of reflection and remembrance to, hey, things that you think are big and large, you know, are really not that important in life. So,
yes, agreed. Thank you for your words, Jean H. Pierre. I want to go right to John and Ellie in the great state of Georgia for his thoughts on Ortevez, his final thoughts on 9/11. And your thoughts about the recent news that Georgia schools are paddling people's behinds lately.
Well, I don't know anything about that last part about the paddling, but
not personally, right? No.
No. Okay, so the Ortevez, it's I don't know. It's a little disappointing. I mean, it's not bad. It's better than average. But I've had so many Goza beers because it's a style that I really enjoy. So I might be a little hypercritical of this beer because I drink so many in this style. But for me, it's got the artificial, and even though it's not artificial, it tastes somewhat artificial. I think they overdid it with the lime and the agave. I would have liked more wheat presence, more tartness. I mean, it is light, refreshing. It finishes very dry. It's super sessionable at 4.9% alcohol. But it's just a little – it just falls a little bit short for me. I would have liked less lime, more wheat, and a little less artificial taste in the actual tasting profile of this beer. It just I don't know. It reminds me too much of the Oculto and Bud Light Lime and those type of products. And although those products, I mean, I don't hate those products, I don't want that in a Goza beer. So for a rating, it's an 82 out of 100. It's a B minus for me. If you're looking to get into Goza beers, I would recommend starting with maybe like the Westbrook Goza.
If you can get that one in your area, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very popular brand, the Westbrook brand. They have an entire line of beers. I mean, they make a standard Goza beer. They make IPAs. They make all kinds of stuff. I think they're actually out of California, if I'm not mistaken.
I've heard enough good things about that particular Goza online.
Right, but
I know you drank that with us on Sour Beers one night.
I did, yeah.
Watch my friend go off. If you want to watch my friend go off and say horrible things about it, goes to watch my Green Zebra video. Okay,
Green Zebra. What a name for a beer.
I saw a duo review with you and David. I haven't watched it yet, but I got that on my watch list, so I have to check that out. But
you lost it on that.
Anyway, final thoughts on 9/11. Obviously, it's a tragedy. You know, we'll never forget that day. I was really too young, and being that I was in school when everything went down, it kind of was just it was just so surreal, and it was almost like I didn't even really think about it until much later, because I don't know, I just where I was and what was going on at the time. So yeah, 82 out of 100 for the beer.
0 out of 100 for the day.
0 out of 100 for 9/11. And I think, let's see, I guess that's it. Yeah. And the beer, I should give this beer a C or a D, because it should lose a letter grade just because it had the nerve to spill itself on my floor. How dare it?
It has no brain.
It has. I mean, how dare this beer spill itself on my nice carpet?
You spilled.
Oh yes, blame John and Ellie. Good idea. All right, Jay Terrio, final thoughts on a disappointing Yingling product and the day of 9/11.
Hello, folks. Well, let me say this to you. Yeah, I'm drinking natural ice now, and
surprisingly better, huh?
No, I can't say that natural ice is better than the Yingling Golden Pilsner, but
truth and honesty right here, folks.
But it's better than Genesee Ice, right?
Yes, it is. I will even say
I am honest. It's not better than the Yingling Pilsner, Golden Pilsner, but I will say this: it sure ain't worse. And
Good.
Look, I can get the natural ice for $14.98 a 30-pack, and I sure can't get Yingling Pilsner for anywhere near that. So guess which one I'll be repurchasing now.
All about the price. It's all about quantity and the price.
Sometimes with these styles of beers that Jay is drinking right now, sometimes that is about the price only.
Hey, but hey,
wait a minute.
Jay,
Whoa.
I say sometimes it is. If they're all so similar and you're going to give them a similar rating.
All right. I mean, if I'm paying $14.98 for a 30-pack and I'm paying double that for Yingling.
Right. Yes.
The Yingling ought to be way better. But if it's just like no better, I mean, literally, it's not even better. Why would I ever buy it? I mean, the answer
100% malt, and it be like, and it almost has the perception like we're using better ingredients, but it doesn't come out that way in taste.
They don't claim that. Look at their website, but the other people say that. I mean, natural ice is a better value. Sorry, folks. Sorry to break your bubble. Bust your bubble.
Right.
No.
hey, Jay, what was that thing you mentioned? You played that commercial of Colorasi about the two comparing wines, the Chablis. Yes, the wine is this, but quality versus price, you know.
Yeah, he was
talking more.
Yeah, he was saying the same thing Eric's saying. Carlo Rossi was saying, look, he was saying, the Carlo Rossi Chablis is very nice. It's good. And he said, and here's another wine I'm drinking called Inglenook Chablis. It's very good too. He said, they're both very good wines, believe me. He said, but the Carlo Rossi is way cheaper, so why would you pay more for the Inglenook and it's not even any better? So
exactly.
That's why I put on Alcohol X. Carlo Rossi tries to make a point.
And I agree. And that's the point when it comes to beer. You know, look, we love craft beers. We love all of them. But again, it's all about quality and affordability.
Right. And if I'm paying off, and I'm like you and John and Neil and Jean and Eric, if I'm paying way more money, it better be way better.
Yeah, I do agree with that. You're
not
right.
Not marginally better, okay?
And get me wrong. Look, Yingling traditional lager sometimes, and even in some of the stores I go to, are maybe 50 cents or maybe $1 less than Budweiser. And sometimes I'll tend to go with that, you know, in terms of I'll say, I'll get the traditional lager. And that's once in a while sort of thing. If not, I usually get High Life or High Life Light or some light beer, you know.
Yeah, I think I'm going to buy Busch Light next.
Yeah.
Whoa. You know my friend David. You know my friend David's been ill. He cannot drink all these high alcohol beers.
He has to go light.
Yeah, so I mean,
2 a day, right? Minimum, a maximum.
Right. You saw the video. So he said, I need to. Really, it's 1 a day. 1 a day. He said, I need to. Let's focus on light beers. I said, well, you know, I like lighter beers anyway, so we're gonna do all kind of like 4.5 to 4.5% beers. So I have no problem. All right, I'll go quick because I want to go to bed. You know, really, I want to wake up very early so I can watch all the Major League Baseball highlights.
Sounds fun.
All right, and I mean early, like I want to wake up at 2:45.
We're about to clinch the Red Sox. Woo!
You know, I don't hate the Red Sox. I don't care about them, but I don't hate them. I watch all their highlights, and they're a very good team. And
we smoked the Braves. Woo!
They probably won't win the World Series because that's how it goes in Major League Baseball. Teams get you all excited, and then you go to the playoffs and they bomb out, and then you're like all depressed because it's like, why? I did not expect to see the Yankees in a World Series. Why am I watching this? Because the Red Sox are supposed to be there, and now I feel played. But anyway, that's
bomb out just like 2 apple.
Let's worry about that in October when you get your dreams and your hopes crushed. You know?
Cut.
In a horrendous and debilitating way. But 9/11, I would summarize that as this. 9/11 exemplifies one word. One word. Incompetence. Incompetence. I'm gonna let you think about that.
Okay. Contemplate that, John H. Pierre.
Yes. I will think about it. Think about it.
Think about the word incompetence and how it relates to the 9/11 events. Okay, now Eric, you're going to talk about the final and the beer, and then I'm getting
of my evening here. Glorious. Not a great way to describe 9/11. Great way to describe this beer, however. And I say however again, but however. This beer can be totally seen in the finish that it is from the 5th or from the 16th of May 2018. Again, the finish can be seen that it's that old. Yeah. I'm not getting a 72 IBU big bitter punch. However, I'm not that I expect a lot of these New England style hop forward beers to have a giant amount of bitterness or to have anything that's going to really, like, pardon my French, that's really going to kick your ass as far as it being like almost like a high ABV whiskey, like that big mouth puckering kind of an experience, because New England IPAs are meant to showcase other things in hops than just the bitterness. However, I can tell by how light and overly dry the finish is that I'm not getting the hot punch that I need from it. But I am still getting the really nice juice qualities, and I love the fact that this thing's got that Pilsner malt influence to it, because it is drinking like a really great Pilsner Urquell New England IPA hybrid. And I can taste something that is reminding me of white wheat as well, even though they don't say they're using that. I'm getting a white wheat or a flaked oat, so that's really cool. I seem to be giving some 93s as a high rating lately. I'm going to give another 93. I am just in reserve about my personal bottle or can of the beer. It's easy to acquire. I will certainly write this down to acquire it soon again because it's pretty good beer. And this single was at Trader Joe's, so 93, it's pretty good. And don't be afraid of some yeast because it actually brings out characters in your beer. 9/11 is definitely a 0 out of 100 for a day. But it reminds me, there's the sediment. It reminds me that, pardon my French, it reminds me that bullshit walks. And by that, I mean, whatever your problems are very insignificant as compared to what the entirety of the United States of America has got to deal with. So,
Eric, I've got...
and get together and get shit done and combat this head on and let's take on the world if we need to. Go America. Yes.
I've got a question, and I guess this is for you since you're drinking the beer, but I guess anybody can answer. Really, I mean, that's considered a pale ale. It looks. You described it, the way it looks, everything. To me, it's a New England style IPA. What differentiates a pale ale from an IPA? Because you said the IBUs are up there in the 70s. I mean, that's an IPA for all intents and purposes. I mean, right?
The marketing on.
Whoa, it's an earthquake. Run. I'm getting off.
All right. Hey, listen, my volume, I don't know what's going on with my volume, guys.
It's all right.
It's
marketing.
I thought I was at the A's Giants game in 1989.
The marketing for the beer, John, says Galaxy Pale Ale, and then they start by saying the smooth New England style pale ale. So they themselves are marketing this thing as a pale ale. So if I go onto the Lord Hobo website, they have a session IPA and they have a New England wheat beer, which is 5.5%. You have to get to, I'm wondering here, you have to get to maybe a 7.5% IPA for them to even start calling it a IPA. So they must they must find that if their beer is over 7%, then they'll call it an IPA. However, they also have a beer. It's called Steal This Can. It's got Chinook, Zeus, and Centennial hops. It's only 6.5%, just like this beer, but they're calling it a West Coast IPA. So I'm not really sure how they're doing it.
But Eric, isn't there oftentimes a lot of crossover with India Pale Ales and Pale Ales?
I agree. I entirely agree with that. Usually, my experience, lower ABVs, lower than 7, can a lot of the times in craft beer and in New England be reserved for the pale ale.
I think it's mislabeled. I think it should be a New England style IPA.
That's what it tastes like.
You're looking at the difference between like an IPA and a double IPA and because typically the alcohol increases significantly from a regular old IPA to a double IPA. But if you're looking at between 70 and 80 IBUs, I just don't know how you can call something a pale ale with that much hop presence in it. And I understand why they would want to market it like that, but I think it's a mislabeling of the product.
I should reach out to them locally and get the real answer and then get back to you folks. I can probably do that, and they probably will respond since they're such a local brewery.
Yeah.
You know what? If they're a good brewery, they will respond to us. We're calling you out, Lord Hobo. You hobo.
Hey, I've gotten into conflicts, and it's usually friendly with beer companies and liquor companies about mistakes they've made on their websites.
Oh.
Sometimes they fixed a mistake, and other times they don't. I even got into a conflict with a rock band. I told them something, and they said I was wrong. I said, no, you're wrong. They were wrong. I mean, I like the band, but they were wrong. I mean, I'm sorry, they were wrong. They didn't understand what I was saying, but anyway, all right.
I got 2 things to add before I'm all set and done here. We had 2 people watching. We have 1 person watching now. We had the Bearded Beardman watching. Bearded Beardman. He said he was drinking a knee deep brewing sack fly IPA, 6.5%. So if you're still watching or you're gonna join the channel later and see this maybe later, thanks for stopping by. And Friar Tuck was here. Whoa, that's an old guy.
Friar Tuck,
old news guy. Please keep joining us. He said for 9/11, his comment was, I was working as a security guard and heard the whole thing on the Howard Stern show on the radio. That was his experience with 9/11. Pretty
oh yeah, that's a very famous broadcast because that was something that broadcast.
Right in New York. So there you go. So I think we are probably pretty much wrapped up here unless anybody has anything else to mention. I think we're pretty good for this special edition Tuesday night.
I'm gonna end this because I have to get off, but I'm gonna say I hope you enjoy your band practice.
Thank you, sir. We got a show Friday. And we just played on Saturday. We're going to be ready to go.
I just have a real quick. I heard John and Eric your rating. Did Jay? Did you give an actual rating for the Golden Pilsner? What was your rating on that?
Well, I reviewed it twice and I gave it a B+, and now I'm starting to have second thoughts about that B+. But let's just say officially, but my heart is not in it. Officially, it's a B+. Now, subject to change at any moment.
Well, hopefully, I'll be able to get that Yingling, and that's the Golden Pilsner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'll be able to try it here and get it here. But I don't know. These distributors here can be funny.
Yeah, you'll love it if you don't expect much. And
I would say if Yingling is easy to find, then therefore Golden Pilsner will be easy to find.
yeah, they're making a big push. I mean, I
see billboards for it around here in Massachusetts.
Yeah, and I have I tend to like Yingling, the company, so I have no built-in animosity towards it. I just was a little disappointed. So,
yeah,
they actually.
Not everything's going to be.
I drive into Atlanta. I drive into Atlanta during the week to work. There's actually a big billboard, and I see it every day that I work in Atlanta. And they're marketing. I guess their motto or whatever for this beer is "New Generation, New Pilsner." I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
What is the new generation? They're like asking for bland. Is that what the new generation?
I don't really know what they're trying to get out of that, but that's what it says.
Everything you always wanted in a Pilsner and less.
Whoa,
what was that commercial? They always talked about Miller Lite as a Pilsner beer.
Yeah.
Tastes a great Pilsner. I say, really? Is a Pilsner?
Same story here. Same story here. Eric, you better get off because we're going to start ranting and raving, and it'll go on till 10:30, 12 o'clock at night. And
which is cool with me, but maybe off air. So I want to say this in going forward in the month of September here. So we're going to be going back to Wednesdays starting next week. And because I'm trying to get rid of beers that I have basically collected in my beer refrigerator in my basement at home, we're going to do for the rest of September, we're going to do Wild Card Wednesdays where unlike Joe D, where we share a beer, we're calling it Wild Card Wednesday, and you just get to bring whatever beer you want. So, yes, I'm calling you out, Joe D. Join us. Bring whatever beers you want on Wednesdays, and let's do it.
I will send you $100. I will send you $100 if that happens.
Joe D. All right. Anyways,
and I'll send you $100 if he ever invites me to hang out on his channel. But
I've only been there once. It was kind of cool, but
you ain't getting paid.
All right. So I say on behalf of Jean H. Pierre, John Anilli, Jay Terry at Louisiana Beer Reviews. I know Michael Komarov is with us in spirit while he is drinking great beers in Belgium. Woohoo! And I mean the country. And on behalf of Thomas Metal 75 for Masters of Beer Reviews, keep tasting those great beers. Cheers. We'll see you soon. I'm not very, very religious, but God bless the United States. And it's been a wrap. Cheers.
Good night, world, America.
He's going to become religious.